Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Welcome to today's Monday Rapid Fire. Couldn't be more optimistic with how the market is shaping up. Consolidation at resistance is bullish in my view, and we are climbing that wall of worry up near 67, 68, 69,000. And I think we're going to have another challenge at 70,000 and 73,000 as we grind closer to the election. So the market right now, and just markets broadly, are pricing in a Trump presidency. Whether you like it or not, the bond market is insinuating that. I've been watching the early votes come in. I mean, you can look at prediction markets, sure, but if you just look at what is going on in terms of that early voting and in terms of what we're seeing in the polling, the trend is very much with Trump at the moment. The momentum is very, very strong towards Trump. Now, in an investment sense, that's fantastic for crypto investors because we're going to get looser regulation around ETFs. So that's why Solana's really moving at the moment. You're going to get looser regulations around crypto. We're also just going to have this big overhang, the sort of the worry of this election event with maybe what, Kamala Harris administration would be, a bit of ambiguity there. We still have really no idea how they're going to approach crypto. It sounds more pro, but I'm not convinced yet. All we do know for certain is Trump's side is going to be incredibly pro-crypto. So that's all starting to be baked into the cake. And we're watching the data and the charts tell us that. Now, on a much higher level, we're looking at the US bond market. Very, very boring topic, but the bond market essentially tells you the health of the US economy. And bond market traders can tell you with what's going on underneath the hood, which is just kind of like on-chain data for Bitcoin, if I'm using that strange analogy. Didn't think I would be, but there we go. The US bond market right now is scooting higher. These are the yields, by the way. So people don't want to own US bonds. In fact, they're looking to sell that and either go into the dollar or move out into the broader speculative, risk side of the market. Now, why is that? Well, US bonds are directly tied to US debt and what I guess the next administration might do. Now, as Trump's chances improve, the bond market is trying to price in higher debt loads, tariffs, uncertainty around how that all interacts. There might be some short-term volatility if they're going to enact a lot of these, policies like reducing income tax, that sort of thing, reducing, tax loads. A lot of this is telling us that inflation might not be finished. And that's kind of a separate category when we're looking at inflation. What the bond market is also telling us is that the Fed may have cut too hard too soon, going 0.5 instead of 0.25. Those bond yields are coming back up. Now, if the market was convinced that inflation was done, rates were going to continuously come down in a really strong fashion, then bond yields would be, flatline. It would be going down a lot steeper downtrend. The dollar would be, moving lower. But right now it's telling us that's not the case. Because I guess the dollar, when bond yields are going up, the dollar is becoming scarcer. And that's kind of the underlying dynamic around it. Now, I could go much deeper than I have with the masterminds, but that's kind of my high-level takeaway. As long as bond yields are going up, we're going to see this intermittent volatility with the market. Now, we've been saying, for the last weeks and months that the election is going to provide volatility in both directions to really flush out derivatives traders and investors in general. And the best way to probably approach this is to not trade it at all. And you have more of a risk mitigation approach, going in thinking, well, there's going to be a lot of zip-zoring around. Do I keep some stable coins on the sidelines? Do I just be mindful with my risk? Do I move more into Bitcoin and not move into meme coins? That sort of thing. Yeah, you could be thinking a bit further out than you need to, which is certainly why you want to be looking at pair charts if you are looking to move into risk. Is something outperforming Bitcoin? Is something outperforming Solana? Right now, the two best assets to own on the market in terms of strength are Bitcoin and Solana. Why? Solana's beating Bitcoin, Solana's beating Ethereum, Solana's beating, essentially everything right now on a consistent basis. Whereas Bitcoin is beating essentially everything else. So if something is starting to break up against BTC, you pay attention, you pay notice. It's how we kind of pick SUI. It's how we pick, Solana, moving where it is now. It's by looking at that strength. Now, if we pivot back to Bitcoin, I want to just bring your eyes to this sort of forgotten thing, which is super important for the fundamental movement of the supply shock and the plumbing, and that is the ETF flows. Now, we're seeing consistent strong flows via these ETFs. I mean, these are starting to get up there. In I think 6 days, we had over $1.2 billion come through with these ETFs. Now, this is not nothing. It's why Bitcoin is showing this beautiful kind of movement up. It's grinding sideways and it's starting to chop a little bit higher, but it's not really having these big drops. The underpinning of this market is now being very solidly supported by investors and speculators thinking that a Trump win is good for Bitcoin and crypto, but just broadly with gold moving all-time highs, if we're going to see this strong impulse for more debt, more devaluation, which both sides are going to do, they're going to cut taxes, they're going to debase the dollar, we are going to see, more speculative capital. It is kind of like this Goldilocks zone, which we're approaching for crypto. We just need to see that burst out, and it might take until the election or just after, but it's coming. So we need to watch that. But these flows are, not insignificant. The last on 25th of August, that's 402 million in just one bang. So this is really strong, guys. I'm not going to, say I can't say it's negative. It's just really, really strong to see in terms of that supply shock, and it's getting eaten. Eventually, people are not going to want to sell their Bitcoin here. They're realizing things are going to get progressively worse in terms of currency and debt, and they want to hold their Bitcoin for the longer term. Now, I'm just going to go through Bitcoin a little bit here. So the monthly looks incredible. So cup and handle, 7-month consolidation, compression sideways. Now we have 3 days and 21 hours left for this to actually close, above these kind of levels. So fully break out of this downward descending wedge. Broadening descending wedge. If we can close the monthly above 70,000, then this is reaching its escape velocity. The bigger move is on the cards. But right now, we're not seeing that just yet, but this is a beautiful setup for higher prices in the back of November and also December within the 4-year cycle. The weekly looks really incredible. We flagged it the other 2 weeks ago when we saw that close above that, the body of the close here rather, it was above this previous downtrend movement, and it was actually above the downtrend line as well. So I love what I was seeing there. And then we had this sort of next candle here, get brought up super heavy, close back above the trend line support. We are waiting here. This looks like we are just going to bust out of this entire move and leave this entire section for dust. And the move's going to be incredibly violent. It is going to move hard and fast to the 90,000s. We're going to probably move through the 80s and 70s. I want to say quick, I don't know for certain, but the move broadly, if you're looking towards that 100,000 mark, it's going to skip and bound because we've been in this compression for so long, and the energy that's going to release is going to pull us towards that 100,000 mark quite quickly. So that's my view anyway. I'm not sure we bust through 100,000 straight away. Like, this is going to take place over the next couple of months, but that is my time scale for where we're going from here. But once we make highs in Bitcoin, all bets are off in the crypto markets. I mean, we're going to see that total 3 start to expand. We're going to see the Bitcoin dominance hopefully begin to break down once we've reached those kind of levels above. And then altcoins can really flourish. USDT dominance as well hopefully breaks down, which we are already seeing the early stages of that, which is fantastic. Now, I just wanted to also just finish on make mention of the pair charts are, and I said to the masterminds today, if you have a very strong understanding of how the pair charts work, it is your edge. You are ahead of 99.9% of investors. Again, it's how we picked Sui early on, that at its big run. It's how we picked when to leave Sui and go into Solana. How we've picked to stay in Solana right now versus anything else. And it's all about strengths. Right now, Solana closed above, and this is on the weekly, this looks actually fantastic for continuation, but the daily was really important. Closed above its 200-day moving average. That was the signal, really strong signal above the red line here, and just started creating this high, low movement. And retesting breakout levels, Solana looks super, super strong, and nothing else really looks good like that. I guess I'm excluding memes because, they run on different, liquidity and different. If Solana's moving, the Solana memes will move. If Sui's moving, the the Sui memes and ecosystem will move. So it's a different, additional layer of risk right now. Whereas if you can master these kinds of pair charts, you are going to be held in really good stead as an investor. And we cover it in length in the mastermind course because it's an absolute game changer. Now, Sui Solana, again, this is the pair charts that you can put together. Now, Sui was looking amazing, making all these gains against Solana, but once it broke the parabola, once it broke this upwards moving channel, and also you could have waited for the horizontal. I know I did. I wanted to see whether it would actually find ground here and move up, but flipped it there, and ever since they've saved 23% against Solana. If I had have held my Sui and not gone into Solana and seeing the Solana strength versus USD and Bitcoin, I would have been still in Sui, and I've copped a 23% drawdown of my Sui in different value metrics against Bitcoin USD. So you can use these charts to your timing as well when you get back in. For example, if I'm in Solana at the moment, I like Sui and I want to get back in at some point, I'd be waiting for a reclamation of these horizontal levels before I get interested in moving up again. So Just a bit of a nugget there, guys. I am watching Sui and Cetus and some others for return of that capital going into it. And one more thing I want to point out, Ethereum is starting to look okay on the SBTC chart, but there is absolutely no reason to go into Ethereum until you see this chart cooling off. Because if you're seeing Solana just absolutely pants Ethereum, which it looks like it's trying to do a markup here in price, look at this, just higher highs, Solana against Ethereum. There is absolutely no point being ETH, which is underperforming Solana. You may as well be in the fast move, the lower market cap, the harder potential runner in the top three. So yeah, I guess that's how you can strategically look at your portfolio if you want to be more dynamic around it. I'm not suggesting most people should attempt this. Most people are much better off with most of their portfolio being quite settled and ready to go for the longer term. But if you've got a percentage of that, of your portfolio that you're looking to move and be dynamic with, you want to understand how this stuff works. Otherwise, you're just chasing different things without much of a plan behind it. And it can be really beneficial if you're moving with the strength, with a portion. You shouldn't be selling everything all at once, but a portion of your capital, you can be moving about following the strength. And I think that the most important thing to also have is a clear idea, narrowed focus of the cryptos you actually want to own through this bull run, and really not deviate from it unless you want to add to that in your longer term stack. And have it in your watch list. Have the cryptos that you want. It could be Bitcoin, Ethereum, Sui, Dog with Hat, could be Cetus, could be Drift, and some others, fat stacks. That could be your list. And if they're not performing against Bitcoin or the mover in the market, you're better off majoritarily not being in that and keeping your longer term holding in it for sure, but clipping the rest and then moving it into something that is higher strength. These are kind of the strategies you can use, but moving into the higher strength that's in your watch list. If something is performing that's not in your watch list, you can have a look at it, but it's important to keep that focus really, really narrow, because the assets that we tell you to look at or really suggest to you in the top 10 of our newsletter are generally the top cryptos in the market, and liquidity goes to those top market cap coins, those top narrative coins in those lower security moments. This isn't a time yet to just throw darts at a dartboard and go into absolutely everything with risk to just make gargantuan amounts of money. You get stuck in those at this point in time if we get a market-wide 25% move down because of the election or something silly. So just want to be mindful of what's going on, sober of what's coming. And if you are going to be fully allocated and you want to take a lot of risk right now, you just have to accept that is who you are as an investor, and be willing to wear, drawdowns in the short term with the focus that the mid and long term is going to be incredibly lucrative for yourself. So sorry, I went on a bit long with this one, but I want to provide a little bit extra mayonnaise on it for you today. If you're interested in any of the stuff I've said today in terms of strategy, look, we do calls on this all the time with our mastermind clients. So if you're a VIP or a graduate, wants a little bit more support, you just need help around your portfolio, your direction, your strategy, this is what we do in the mastermind group, and we'll work with you one-on-one to get you to where you want to go, and essentially emulate, Joe and myself if you want, the kind of strategies that we're employing. We're not going to tell you exactly what to do. We're going to give you the best advice we can and help you make the decisions that you need to do. And we also give you insight around what we do and how we operate on an institutional fund level, which has really helped my personal investing as well. I'm happy to share that. So hope you have a great day and a great week. Let's hope we see some big candles leading into this election. All right, guys, have a great day. See ya. Bye-bye.